The post had been sitting in Ethan's moderation queue for 17 minutes before he noticed it had no author. He'd opened his laptop at 11:43 p.m., the same as every Tuesday night, brewing coffee he wouldn't finish and settling into the familiar rhythm of sorting through humanity's worst impulses. 4 years as a moderator had taught him to read confessions the way a mechanic reads an engine, diagnosing problems without attachment, approving or removing posts based on whether they violated the forum's sparse rules. The confessions themselves had long ago stopped affecting him. Theft, violence, infidelity, unacted desires, crimes without names attached. He'd seen it all. He'd stopped feeling it all. But when he clicked on the post waiting at the top of his queue, something in his peripheral vision snagged. The username field was empty, not a random string of characters like Anonymous 7392 or Confessant 1847, just blank space where an identifier should have been. Ethan's first thought was database corruption, a glitch that had stripped the metadata during upload. It happened occasionally with older forum software. He made a mental note to flag it for the admin after he'd reviewed the content. Then he started reading and forgot about the missing username entirely. The post was titled Documentation of Event. No preamble, no context, just a single line to start. A man will die at 2:17 a.m. in his apartment. Ethan almost laughed. It read like the opening of a creative writing exercise, someone workshopping a short story and posting it in the wrong place. The forum occasionally attracted fiction writers who mistook it for a creative community. He usually removed those posts without much thought. But something made him keep reading. The apartment is on the 3rd floor of a building with brown brick facade. The intercom system has been broken since August. The button for Unit 3C no longer produces sound when pressed. Inside the apartment, the kitchen light is on. The fluorescent fixture contains 2 bulbs. The bulb on the left flickers at intervals of approximately 40 seconds. On the counter sits a white ceramic mug with a chip on the handle near the base. The mug contains water. The water has been sitting for 2 days and has developed a faint film on the surface. Ethan set down his coffee cup. His eyes moved to the kitchen counter. The white mug was there, exactly as described. He'd filled it with water on Sunday and forgotten about it. The chip was on the handle, near the base, where he dropped it against the sink 6 months earlier. His building was brown brick. The intercom had stopped working in August. He lived in Unit 3C. He looked back at the screen. His heart had begun to beat faster, though his rational mind was still searching for explanations. Someone had been in his apartment. That was the only logical answer. An ex-girlfriend, maybe, though he hadn't had anyone over in months. A landlord, possibly, though he'd received no notice of entry. The post continued with the same clinical precision. The laptop is positioned on the kitchen table. The screen displays a forum interface. 7 tabs are open in the browser. The 3rd tab from the left is a streaming site, paused on a documentary about deep-sea exploration. The man has been watching it intermittently for the past 3 days, but has not finished it. Ethan's browser tabs were visible at the top of his screen. 7 tabs. The 3rd was a streaming site, paused exactly where the post described. He'd been watching that documentary in small segments all week, never quite finding the energy to finish it. Someone had been in his apartment. They'd documented everything. They'd gone through his things, his computer, cataloged the details of his life with methodical care. This was stalking. This was a threat. He scrolled down, reading faster now, looking for something that would tell him who had written this or why. But the post didn't shift into menace or demands. It simply continued describing. At 12:31 a.m., the man will stand from the table. He will walk to the window and check the street below. He will see nothing unusual. He will check the locks on his door. He will return to the table. He will attempt to delete this post. Ethan checked the time at the bottom of his screen, 12:29 a.m., 2 minutes before the post claimed he would stand and walk to the window. He decided not to. He would sit here and prove the post wrong, simple as that. But even as he thought it, his body was already moving. He stood, the chair scraping against the floor, and walked to the window before his conscious mind had finished forming the intention to stay seated. He looked down at the street, empty sidewalk, parked cars, nothing unusual. He checked the time again, 12:31 a.m. His hands felt cold. He went to the door and checked the locks, both engaged, chain fastened, no signs of tampering. He returned to the table and sat down. His hands moved to the keyboard and opened the moderation panel. He selected the post and clicked delete. The post vanished from the queue. Ethan exhaled. He refreshed the page. The post reappeared, identical, same position in the queue, same blank username field, same text. He deleted it again, refreshed. It came back. He opened the system logs. According to the database, the post had appeared at 11:43 p.m. and had never been touched. There was no record of his deletion attempts, no record of any moderation action. Ethan sat back in his chair. His coffee had gone cold. The kitchen light flickered on schedule, 40 seconds passing with mechanical regularity. Someone had compromised the forum. They'd found a way to insert a post that couldn't be removed, tied it to some kind of monitoring system, and now they were watching him react in real time. It was elaborate, technically sophisticated, and deeply disturbing. But it was explicable. There was a person or group behind this. People could be found, reported, stopped. He opened the thread to check if anyone had replied to the post. 3 users had commented. Watcher 1191. Another one. Confessant 0444. How long do you think before he understands? Anonymous 8273. They never understand until it's too late. Ethan typed a reply quickly, his fingers striking the keys harder than necessary. If this is a prank or harassment, you need to stop. I'm reporting this to the authorities. He waited. The thread refreshed automatically. A new reply appeared from Watcher 1191. The authorities can't help you. No one can. But you should know it's not personal. The forum chooses. Ethan's jaw tightened. He typed again. The forum doesn't choose anything. It's software. Someone is doing this. Tell me who. Another user joined the thread. Skeptic 9201. Ignore these idiots. They do this every few months. It's an ARG or some role-playing thing. Just delete the post and move on. Ethan felt a small surge of relief. Someone rational. Someone who saw this for what it was, a coordinated effort to frighten him. He typed back, I've tried deleting it. It reappears. How do I remove it permanently? Skeptic 9201. Check your permissions. Sometimes new moderators get restricted access. You might need admin clearance for certain posts. That made sense. Ethan had been promoted to moderator after the previous one had left without explanation, but maybe there were back-end restrictions he wasn't aware of. He opened the admin panel and checked his permission levels. Full access, no restrictions. He returned to the thread. Skeptic 9201 had posted again. Did you check? Ethan, yes, full permissions, still can't delete it. Skeptic 9201. Weird, might be a bug. I'd just ignore it. These attention seekers get bored if you don't feed them. Ethan wanted to believe that. He wanted to close the laptop and go to bed and wake up to find the post had vanished on its own, a temporary glitch now resolved. But the apartment description had been perfect, not close, not approximate, perfect. He scrolled back to the original post. New text had appeared below the section he'd already read. At 12:47 a.m., the man will feel a brief moment of hope. He will believe the post is a prank. He will consider ignoring it. This will last approximately 3 minutes. Then he will continue reading, and the hope will dissolve. Ethan checked the time, 12:47 a.m. 3 minutes. He could wait 3 minutes and see if the post was wrong. He stood from the table and paced the length of his kitchen. His mind cycled through explanations, rejecting each one as insufficient. The level of detail was too specific for a lucky guess. The real-time updates suggested active monitoring, but there were no cameras he checked, no microphones, no devices he hadn't placed there himself. 3 minutes passed. He sat down and continued reading the post. The next section described his apartment in even greater detail. The books on his shelf, titles and authors in exact order, the contents of his refrigerator, down to the brand of mustard and the expiration date on the milk carton, the pattern of water damage on his bathroom ceiling that looked vaguely like a bird if you tilted your head. All correct, all impossible to guess. Ethan's breathing had become shallow. The apartment was too quiet. He could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the barely audible buzz of the fluorescent light, his own pulse in his ears. He returned to the thread. The user count had increased. 14 people viewing. More replies had appeared. Anonymous 8273. He's still reading. Confessant 0444. They always keep reading, even when they know they should stop. A new user, Lurker 5588, posted for the first time. Is this real? I've been on this forum for 2 years and never seen anything like this. Watcher 1191. It happens every time a moderator gets too comfortable. The forum corrects itself. Ethan interrupted. Corrects what? What are you talking about? No one answered his question directly. Instead, Confessant 0444 replied, There was a moderator before you, Morgan. Did you ever wonder what happened to them? Ethan had wondered briefly when he'd first taken over. The previous moderator's account had simply gone dark one day, all activity ceasing without explanation or farewell. He assumed they'd quit or been removed for inactivity. He typed, Morgan left. People leave forums all the time. Confessant 0444. Morgan didn't leave. Look at the date of their last post, then look at the archive for that week. Ethan opened a new tab and searched for the forum archives. Morgan's last activity was dated October 9th, 2 years ago. He searched for threads from that week. There were hundreds of posts from early October. He filtered for abnormal activity. One thread had an abnormally high view count, over 3,000 views in a single night. The thread had been deleted, but the metadata remained in the database. Thread title, Documentation of Event. Ethan's hands went still on the keyboard. He clicked into the cached preview. The thread had been removed, but fragments remained in the database. A single preserved reply from Watcher 1191. How long do you think before he understands? The date stamp, October 9th, 2:51 a.m. He clicked back to his current thread. He scrolled to the original post and read the next section. At 1:14 a.m., the man will search the archives. He will find evidence of previous occurrences. He will understand that this has happened before. He will feel the certainty of his situation solidify. He will consider running. He will stand from the table and retrieve his car keys from the hook near the door. Ethan checked the time, 1:14 a.m. His eyes moved involuntarily to the hook near the door, where his car keys hung on a small metal ring. He looked at the keys for a long time, thinking about the sequence of actions required to leave. Stand, walk to the door, take the keys, unlock the deadbolt, step into the hallway. He could do it. The post hadn't said he wouldn't. It had said he would consider. Consider was different from doing. He stood from the table, walked to the door. His hand closed around the keys, cold metal pressing into his palm. He stopped. Where would he go? What would running accomplish? The forum existed online, accessible from anywhere. The post would still be there. The countdown would still continue. And if he left, he'd be on the road at 2:17 a.m., distracted and terrified, possibly fulfilling the prediction in an entirely different way. He hung the keys back on the hook, returned to the table, sat down. The post had updated again. The man will take his keys. He will stop. He will return to the table. He will understand that geography is irrelevant. Ethan's throat was tight. His hands trembled as he typed into the thread. Someone explain this to me, please. What is happening? The replies came quickly now, multiple users responding at once. Lurker 5588. I don't understand either. This has to be fake. It's too specific. Watcher 1191. It's not fake. It's never fake. Skeptic 9201. You're all feeding into mass hysteria. This is textbook social engineering. Anonymous 8273. Believe what you want. The result is always the same. Another user, Witness 3309, appeared. I watched this happen to Morgan. I was in the thread that night. I didn't believe it either. Then Morgan's account went silent, permanently. No logout, no farewell, just silence. Ethan, what did the post say would happen to Morgan? Witness 3309. I don't remember the details, but I remember the time, 3:04 a.m. After that, nothing. Lurker 5588. This is insane. Even if someone is monitoring his apartment, they can't make him die at a specific time. That's not how reality works. Skeptic 9201. Exactly. This is psychological manipulation. He's being scared into believing something impossible. Ethan wanted to believe Skeptic 9201. He wanted to embrace that explanation and let it calm the panic rising in his chest. But the post had been right about everything so far. Every detail, every action. He scrolled further down the original post. The text now extended beyond his laptop screen, paragraphs continuing into events that hadn't happened yet. At 1:39 a.m., the man will attempt to contact someone. He will open his phone. He will scroll through his contacts. He will realize he has no one he can call who would believe what he is experiencing. He will close the phone without making a call. The time was 1:33 a.m., 6 minutes. Ethan picked up his phone. He scrolled through his contacts slowly, looking at names he hadn't spoken to in months or years. Friends from college, former co-workers, his sister who lived 3 states away and barely answered his texts. Who could he call? What would he say? That an anonymous forum post was predicting his death, that he'd tried to delete it and couldn't, that a community of strangers claimed this had happened before. He imagined the conversation, the skepticism, the concern that would sound like condescension, the suggestion that he was stressed, exhausted, seeing patterns where none existed. He closed the phone and set it on the table. The time was 1:39 a.m. The post updated. The man closed the phone. He called no one. Ethan pushed back from the table hard enough that his chair hit the wall behind him. His breathing was ragged. The kitchen light flickered. 40 seconds, 40 seconds, 40 seconds, mechanical and eternal. He typed into the thread with shaking hands, "How do I stop this?" The replies came fast. Anonymous 8273, "You don't." Watcher 1191, "The post is already written. You're just reading it now." Confessant 0444, "I'm sorry, I really am, but if there was a way to stop it, someone would have found it by now." Lurker 5588, "This isn't real. It can't be real. Someone tell him this isn't real." No one did. Skeptic 9201 had stopped replying. Ethan scrolled through the thread, looking for something, anything that suggested a solution, a weakness in the pattern, a moment where the prediction had failed. He found none. Instead, he found a reply from a user he hadn't noticed before, Archivist 0012. The account had no post history, no profile information, just a single message, time-stamped 4 minutes ago. The forum is not malicious. It does not cause what it documents. It simply records. The act of recording creates the obligation to observe. Observation creates inevitability. You cannot stop what has already been witnessed by enough eyes. Ethan read the message 3 times. The user count on the thread had climbed to 67. 67 people watching. He typed, "What happens if I stop reading?" Archivist 0012 didn't reply. Neither did anyone else. Ethan closed the laptop. The kitchen was silent, except for the hum of appliances and the flicker of the failing bulb. He sat in the dim light and tried to think. If the post required observation, then removing observers should break the chain. He could shut down his computer, walk away, refuse to participate. But 67 people were already in the thread, 67 witnesses, and the post had described Morgan's death 2 years ago, long before Ethan had ever read it. Observation didn't require his participation. It required an audience, and the audience was already there. He opened the laptop again. The thread had grown, over 100 users now, none of them speaking, just watching. The silence was worse than the replies had been. Ethan scrolled to the original post. The final paragraphs were visible now, no longer hidden below the fold. At 2:09 a.m., the man will close the laptop. He will sit in silence for 4 minutes. He will open the laptop again. He will read these words and understand that closing the laptop accomplished nothing. The time was 2:09 a.m. Ethan felt something crack inside him, not panic, not fear, something colder, the recognition of a truth he'd been avoiding. He was going to die. The post said he would die at 2:17 a.m., and he was going to die at 2:17 a.m., because the alternative required a world where this kind of documentation was meaningless, where observation didn't enforce outcome, where being seen didn't make you real. He kept reading. At 2:13 a.m., the man will accept what is happening. The acceptance will not bring peace. The man will look at the screen and see the user count has exceeded 200. He will understand that each witness makes the outcome more certain. He will wish he had never opened the post. He will understand the wish is irrelevant. The time was 2:11 a.m. 2 minutes until the acceptance the post described. Ethan tried to feel something other than the cold certainty spreading through his chest. Anger, defiance, the will to fight. But the fight required believing he could win, and every action he'd taken had been predicted, every thought catalogued, every choice already made. At 2:13 a.m., Ethan stopped resisting. He looked at the user count. 214 people watching. An audience that had gathered to witness something they'd seen before. Something they couldn't stop and couldn't look away from. He typed one final message into the thread. Someone tell the next person. Tell them not to read it. He pressed send. The replies came immediately, dozens of them, overlapping. We tried. They never listen. I'm sorry. It's already too late. Ethan scrolled to the bottom of the original post. The final paragraph was brief. At 2:17 a.m., the man will understand what is happening. The understanding will arrive too late. He will remain at the table. He will attempt to move. His body will not respond. The laptop screen will remain visible. The last thing the man sees will be the forum page. The thread will remain open. The witnesses will remain present. At 2:17 a.m., the event will conclude. The time was 2:16 a.m. Ethan's hands were on the keyboard. He wanted to type something else, to leave some final message that would matter, that would change something, but his fingers felt distant and strange, as if they belonged to someone else. The kitchen light flickered. 40 seconds, the pattern continuing, indifferent. The user count climbed. 237, 241, 253. Ethan tried to stand. His legs didn't move. He tried to close the laptop. His arms stayed where they were, resting on the table, fingers touching the keyboard. The time was 2:17 a.m. The screen glowed in the dark kitchen. The thread remained open. The user count continued climbing, people arriving in the final seconds to witness what they'd come to see. Ethan's eyes stayed fixed on the text. He understood. He understood everything. The moment lasted forever. The moment ended. The laptop remained on the table, screen bright, thread still active. The user count began to drop slowly as people left one by one, returning to wherever they'd come from. By 3 a.m., the thread was quiet. Ethan's account showed no activity. His last message, the plea to warn the next person, sat unanswered at the bottom of the thread. At 8 a.m., someone created a new thread titled, "Where's Ethan?" The replies came slowly. He hasn't responded to any flags. His last login was late last night. Maybe he took a break. Maybe he quit. By noon, the concern had faded into speculation. By evening, most users had moved on to other discussions, other confessions, other threads. The users who were in the documentation thread said nothing. They read the speculation in silence and said nothing. 3 days later, at 10:23 a.m., a new post appeared on the forum's main page. "Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm excited to announce that I've been invited to join the moderation team. I've been a member of this community for a few months now, and I really believe in what this space represents, a place where people can be honest without judgment. I'm looking forward to helping keep things running smoothly and making sure everyone feels heard. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help, and I take this responsibility seriously. Thanks for welcoming me to the team." The post received 17 replies within the first hour. "Welcome. Glad to have you. Good luck." But the users with older accounts, the ones whose names appeared in thread after thread going back years, said nothing. They read Rachel's introduction in silence. They understood what it meant. They understood that the cycle had continued, that the forum had corrected itself, that a new moderator had arrived with the same eagerness and sincerity that all the others had brought. And not one of them sent Rachel a private message. Not one of them mentioned the posts that couldn't be deleted. Not one of them mentioned the documentation threads, or the user counts, or the pattern that repeated itself every time someone got comfortable in the role. They simply watched and waited, their silence a form of agreement, their inaction a kind of consent. The forum continued as it always had, confessions arriving in the dark hours, secrets spilling into the void, the community absorbing them without judgment or intervention. And somewhere in the moderation queue, invisible to Rachel, but waiting with patient inevitability, a post was already forming. It had no author. It would have no end. It was already written.